Welcome to 50/50 Pelham.
Thank you.
How do people know who the right people to donate funds to are, especially when it comes to rhinos?
Go into the background of the organization. Who are the patrons? Who are the public figures of that particular organization? Is the organization audited? Are they a registered non-profit organization? What is the percentage of the money that is going to be allocated to administration officers and salaries versus how much money is being spent directly into projects that are going to make a difference? This is of now such importance that on the RAGE website, we actually list the credible organizations who we know are doing a fantastic job versus those organizations that we are a little bit worried about.
Do you think that with all the stories and the rumors of the misappropriation of funds with these fundraisers is causing less and less people to want to contribute?
Sadly, we are already seeing a bit of donor fatigue. Unfortunately, when stories are aired of misappropriation of funds, that's almost a justification for individuals to say, well, I'm not going to donate because the money is going to end up in the wrong pockets. And I would plead to the donor community. In fact, we are now almost in our darkest hour. We need desperate assistance. The situation is not good. The situation is quite critical. I would appeal for people not to use this as an excuse not to donate.
What is it that RAGE does to help with making sure that the funds are directed in the right places?
We ensure that there's total transparency, accountability, and effectiveness with donor money. RAGE, many years ago, together with Sand Parks, drew up a so-called national needs analysis. That needs analysis was workshopped with key state role players, which included the Department of Environmental Affairs, the Hawks, etc. And we receive funds from the public, from corporates, from donors, and we allocate money into that needs analysis. We are audited by our audit partners, KPMG, who audit not only the flow of funds, but also that the funds are being allocated in accordance with this needs analysis.
Have there been any success stories? And if so, what can you share a few?
Well, certainly, if I look back, and I've been directly involved in the fight since 2008, which is when the first rhino were killed on private land in South Africa. And when I look back to where we were then to where we are today, we've got a much better idea as to who the bad guys are, how they're operating, etc. What is interesting is that as a direct result of the intervention by the private sector, that is across the full spectrum from investigations, funding of anti-poaching units, special task teams, etc., we are now representing about 50% of the arrests that take place. And I'm not talking about Kruger National Park, I'm talking about all of the reserves out of national parks, which shows you that the private sector, both the donor community as well as the people who are on the ground, the boots on in the felt, so to say, are making a difference. It certainly is not as easy to kill a rhino today as it was 2 years ago.
Speaking of the men on the ground, with all the stories of the misallocation of funds and the fundraisers that aren't who they say they are, how is that affecting the people that are working on the ground with the rhinos?
Well, I can assure you the rhino protection community are the most passionate, committed individuals you've got the privilege of working with. These are men and women who will willingly lay their lives down to protect these animals, these iconic species of Africa. So we are pretty much isolated from that kind of politic and discussions, etc., etc. The guys on the ground are really just getting on and doing the best that they can.
That's encouraging. Is there a message that you have for our viewers? Is there something that you want to say to them to keep them encouraged?
We are certainly seeing a public indignation, not only in South Africa, we're seeing an international condemnation of the senseless slaughter. You must bear in mind that across the face of Africa, 23 countries have lost their rhino populations entirely. It's unacceptable. Rhino cannot go into extinction on our watch. We have to do everything in our power as an iconic species, as part of our history, as part of our culture. We are being attacked. We're in a warfare. We're in a paramilitary situation as we speak. But certainly, with the passion and support that we're getting from South Africans across the board, from Khayelitsha to Sandton, we are making a difference.
So you think that realistically speaking, and in your view, there is still hope?
There has to be. It's not negotiable. Failure simply is not an option.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.